What lengths would a man go to hide his darkest secret? Let's delve into a chilling tale that defies the bounds of rational thinking and shakes the very core of humanity. At the heart of our story is a man, an ordinary man who found himself entangled in a web of love, deceit, and desperation. This man, whom we'll call Ravi for the sake of this story, had a lover. Their relationship was intense, passionate, and as it turned out, ominously fatal. Ravi, a man of average stature and seemingly innocuous demeanor, had a plan so unthinkable it chills the spine just to imagine it. In the aftermath of a tragic incident, he found himself in possession of a burden he never anticipated: the lifeless body of his lover. Amidst the chaos of emotions and the fear of consequences, Ravi thought of an unusual way to rid himself of this burden. His plan? To transport the body from Mumbai to Odisha, a journey spanning over 1,000 miles using the country's vast railway network. He believed he could conceal the body in a travel bag and pass unnoticed amidst the throng of daily travelers. His plan was audacious, to say the least. The audacity of his plan was only matched by the desperation that fueled it. He thought he could get away with it, that he could vanish into the crowd and resurface in another city, free from the burden of his dark secret. Ravi meticulously planned each step, from the purchase of the bag to the selection of the train, the timing, everything. He was convinced that his plan was foolproof. But as we navigate through the intricate labyrinth of human emotions, we realize that desperation can often cloud judgment and lead to miscalculations. But as we all know, every plan has a flaw. With a heavy heart and a heavier suitcase, he boarded the train. The weight of his actions was as palpable as the suitcase he carried. His face was a mask, emotionless, his eyes hiding the turmoil within. The train, a symbol of relentless motion, seemed to echo his resolve to see this through. As the journey began, he looked out at the passing scenery, an ever-changing tableau that was a stark contrast to the stagnant dread within him. The train chugged along, indifferent to the burden it carried, indifferent to the man's silent turmoil. The rhythmic clatter of wheels against tracks was a steady, unchanging soundtrack to his thoughts. Inside the train, life bustled. The compartment was filled with an array of characters, each with their own stories. The joyous family on a holiday, the lone traveler lost in a book, the group of friends sharing laughter and chatter. He was just another passenger, blending into the mundane tapestry of life on the move. Yet he was different. He carried a secret, his companion in the suitcase. His interactions with the other passengers were minimal, his responses curt. He kept to himself, his focus never straying far from the suitcase. It sat there, a constant reminder of his unthinkable plan. He would glance at it every now and then, ensuring it was untouched, unnoticed. As the hours passed, his worry grew. Every casual glance in his direction seemed suspicious. Every innocent question felt like an interrogation. His heart raced every time the train jolted, fearing the suitcase would reveal its secret. The constant worry was like a silent alarm, ticking away in his mind, growing louder with each passing moment. The night fell, and the train sped on, its lights cutting through the darkness. Passengers drifted off to sleep, their dreams as varied as their destinations. But sleep eluded him. His eyes were wide open, watching over his suitcase, his secret. But as the train sped on, so did his fear and paranoia. His journey was far from over, and the hardest part was yet to come. Sometimes it's the smallest things that give us away. Remember the adage about a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil causing a hurricane in Texas? A similar butterfly effect was about to take place, but in a more sinister setting. Our protagonist, if we can call him that, had been successful so far in his unthinkable plan. With the unassuming bag by his side, he was on his way from Mumbai to Odisha, unsuspected by hundreds of co-passengers. But then a seemingly insignificant event sparked a chain reaction that would unravel his carefully crafted scheme. A stray dog, one of the many that have made the train stations their home, happened to wander near our protagonist's suitcase. The dog, driven by its natural instincts, started sniffing around the bag. It was an everyday sight, a stray dog sniffing around a passenger's luggage. But today, it was different. Passengers nearby started noticing the dog's unusual persistence. Whispers began to circulate. Suspicion started to build. Something just didn't seem right. The man with the suitcase, who until now had been just another face in the crowd, was now the center of hushed murmurs and pointed fingers. One vigilant passenger decided to take action. He made the call that would bring this macabre journey to a sudden halt. The authorities were alerted. As the train pulled into the next station, they were waiting. The man with the suitcase was apprehended, his bag opened, revealing the unthinkable secret he had been carrying. The whispers turned into gasps, the pointed fingers turned into shaking heads. The man who was once just a fellow passenger was now a horror story. His plan, as meticulous as it was monstrous, had unraveled, not because of a complex investigation or a brilliant detective, but because of a stray dog and a suspicious crowd. And just like that, his secret was out. Justice, as they say, always finds a way. And in this chilling tale, it found its way on a train journey from Mumbai to Odisha. In the aftermath of the shocking discovery, the man's arrest was swift. The authorities, alerted by the horrified co-passengers, took no time in apprehending him. The air was thick with disbelief, and the echoes of gasps that filled the compartment as the man was handcuffed and taken away. Co-passengers, who merely hours before had been strangers, were now bound by a grim shared experience. Their eyes, wide with shock, told a story of a journey they would never forget. The train, once a symbol of an exciting journey, had transformed into a crime scene, its every nook and cranny a silent witness to the macabre plan. Despite the evidence stacked against him, the man attempted to deny his actions. His desperate pleas of innocence fell on deaf ears, his words lost in the cacophony of shock and disgust. He tried to weave a web of lies, but the truth had a stronger thread. It was a futile attempt, like trying to hold water in a sieve. Following his arrest, the wheels of justice began to turn. Legal proceedings were initiated, a grim reminder of the heinous act he had committed. The law, impartial and just, took its course. Lawyers, judges, and the court became the arena where the man's fate would be decided. Each hearing, each testimony, each piece of evidence, a nail in the coffin of his freedom. The aftermath was a whirlwind of emotions, a blend of relief and horror. The relief that justice was being served, and the horror of the unthinkable act that had been committed. It was a stark reminder that sometimes the monsters we fear are not under our beds, but amongst us, hidden behind a veil of normalcy. In the end, he was left with nothing but regret. A bitter pill to swallow, a harsh reality to face. His actions, once driven by a twisted sense of love, had led him down a path of no return. A path that ended not with his lover by his side, but with him behind bars, a prisoner of his own deeds. Every action has a consequence, and every choice a cost. This is a universal truth that the man in our story learned in the most devastating way. His actions, born out of desperation and an unthinkable plan, had far-reaching effects that went beyond the immediate consequence of his actions. His life, as he knew it, was irrevocably altered. Once the law caught up with him, the freedom he enjoyed was replaced with the cold, hard reality of prison walls. The dreams he had, the aspirations he nurtured, all came crashing down, replaced by the grim reality of a life behind bars. His actions not only cost him his freedom, but also his dignity, his future, and his place in society. The impact of his actions rippled outwards, affecting those closest to him. His family, left to deal with the fallout, found themselves ostracized by a society quick to judge and slow to forget. Their lives, too, were marked by the actions of one man. They bore the brunt of his choices, their lives altered in ways they could never have imagined. And what of society, you ask? This unusual event led to a wave of shock and disbelief, a stark reminder of the depths to which desperation can lead a man. It served as a mirror reflecting the darker aspects of our society, the often unspoken realities that we prefer to sweep under the rug. It forced us to confront the fact that such acts are born out of situations we, as a society, have failed to address. So, what lessons can we glean from this tragic event? Perhaps it's a reminder that our actions, no matter how insignificant they may seem, have consequences. It's a call to remember that we are part of a larger social fabric, and our choices can and do impact those around us. It's a nudge to be more aware, more compassionate, and more understanding. In the game of deceit, the only loser is the one who thinks he can win. Let's remember that and strive to make choices that uplift, not destroy, that bring light, not darkness to our world, because in the end, it's not just about one man's journey, but about us as a society and the kind of world we want to create.